Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Hello Buddy. This video will continue to the STPM Biology Semester 3 like a tuition video. So this video will continue about topic of chapter 14, chapter 1 of semester 3, that is third topic, that is classification of species. So if you for last video, you already know what is the species concept based on the biological species definition. Now you have to learn how to classify the species. Okay, so this is the content that you have to learn. So this today topic is about the topic classification of species. Okay, so you have to know what is definition of classification. Classification is involve the arranging organism into the groups based on their similarities, which reflect evolutionary relationship among lineage. So they are paling for most important terms is arranging the organism into the groups based on the similarities. Okay, so I think this one is very clear. So there are two major class. So the first one is artificial classification and the next one is natural classification. So the scientists use these two ways to classify the species. So for artificial classification, it is very easy. Artificial means the human makes one. Human to do the classification based on the human needs. So it involves the separating organism into groups based on their differences. It does not based on their similarities. It separate the organism based on their differences. Yang dia terbaliknya. Okay, the differences for children is for convenience. So the differences that they choose is based on convenience. Convenience bahasa Melayu kemudahan, but not biological significance. Kemudahan untuk manusia sahaja. Dia tak ada untuk biologi punya. Human cakap apa lah, dia tak kisah biologi punya. Tak kisah punya. So this system does not give true relationship between the organism. So this means that all different kind of organism can classify based on the artificial classification. Kerana dia tak guna based on their characteristic. Dia tak guna based on the biological significance. Dia untuk kemudahan sahaja. Okay, so one of the example of artificial selection is dichotomous key. So dichotomous key is used to identify the organism in a certain habitat based on artificial principle. So and then the next one is the identify and name unfamiliar organisms. Okay, so this one is used to identify the organism in a certain habitat based on artificial principles. So if one habitat like a field, padang, they have to determine the organism. Can use this. Okay, and then another is identify and name unfamiliar organism. And then the next one is involve the observable morphological characteristic of the organism. Based on the morphological characteristic. Morphological characteristic like human have 2 hands, 2 legs, 2 eyes, 1 nose, 1 mouth, like that. The spatial characteristic of the organism. And then the third one is identification is artificial as it relies on the appearance of the organism. It's same like number 2. So it is artificial because it based on the appearance of the organism. Yang hanya untuk appearance sahaja. Dia tak akan tengok dalamannya. Dia tak ada tengok apa organ awak ada, apa genetik awak ada. Dia tak tengok itu. Dia hanya tengok yang awak badan ada apa. Dia hanya select like this. So for example like wings, appendage, segment, and shell. Okay, so yang di maybe you don't know understand. Later I will give you one example, then you will more understand. So each lead ini yang ni maybe you don't understand lah. You just see but I will explain using the example. So one of the example is this. In one habitat, so the species you have is snail, snake, earthworm, spider, cockroach, and ant. Yang species. But you consider you don't know the species. You consider you don't know. Okay. Consider awak tak tahu. Awak langsung tak tahu ini. Awak langsung tak tahu. Langsung tak ada. Awak tak nampak lah. You don't see this species name. So if you want to make a artificial selection using dichotomous key, what you have to do is first you have to number. First you have to buat differences. Buat differences dulu. So got one group of organism, mereka ada appendage. Don't have appendage. And then another organism, they have appendage. So I use the example because more easier. So without appendage, which organism? So based on the this one example species, which one organism they do not have appendage? Appendage means kaki. Tak ada kaki punya. Mana? Yang mana? Ini kan snail ada kaki tak ada. Snake ada kaki pun tak ada. Earthworm tak ada kaki punya. Yang hanya ada kaki ialah spider, cockroach, and ant. Ini tiga-tiga ini ada kaki. So this one is considered as one group. They considered as one group. Okay, for snail, snake, earthworm, they are considered as one group. Okay, so we look to without appendage dahulu. Sorry, I try to get my back. Okay, so we look to without appendage dahulu. Without appendage, tak ada kaki. Okay, so do not have appendage. Which one? I use yang ni kan. Ini tiga. Ini tiga species mereka tak ada kaki. So we look. So this one like mathematics, you go to equation 2. Equation 2. Ini saja. 1A you go to equation 2. Only these three species you go to equation 2. Equation 2. That is the group of organisms that do not have appendage. Okay, so for the group of organisms that do not have appendage, one group they have shell. Another one is they do not have shell. Okay, so have shell actually is very easy. Only snail. Only snail have shell, right? Snake and earthworm they do not have shell. So only snail. So actually you already know the classification. Snail is the organism that do not have appendage and they have shell. So you will know the snail organism, snail species. Okay, then for another one is without shell. Okay, so without shell only has a snake and earthworm. Earthworm they do not have shell. Okay, so this one you go to equation 3. Okay, equation 3. The organism that do not have segment and they have scaly body. Very easy, only snake. Snake do not have segment. Segment means like that. Like this is the body, and then there ada bahagi. Dia ada bahagian. Snake tak ada kan? Snake mana ada ini bahagian. But it is scale. Snake have scale. So it is scaly body. So only snake. So you can consider as snake is unsegmented and it has scaly body and it do not have shell and then it do not have appendage. So this one is shell. Typo SHELL. Okay, so it's snake. Another one is earthworm. Earthworm has segmented body and do not have scale body. So its conclusion you can consider as earthworm do not have segment body and do not have scale body and it do not have shell and it also do not have appendage. Okay, yang ni classification. Okay, so for until now number 1A, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, you already settle. So snail, snake, earthworm, you already know the species. You already know the classification already. So snail, snake, and earthworm, okay, finally is classified. Now you have to look the with appendage. Yang ada kaki punya. Ada kaki siapa? I use the different in. Ada kaki punya siapa? Ni kan, spider, cockroach, and ants. So yang ada kaki punya, you go to equation 4. Okay, we look equation 4. Equation 4, 4A and 4B is the differences. So 4A it say 3 pairs of appendage. Dia ada 3 pasang kaki. Siapa ada 3 pasang kaki? Siapa? Cockroach and ant, right? Spider tak ada 3 pasang. Spider ada 4 pasang. Betul tak? Spider has 4 pair of appendage. Hanya cockroach and ant, they have 3 pair of appendage. So 4B is more than 3 pairs of appendage on the spider, because spider have 4 pair. So finally you go to spider. So spider is finally classified. So for 3 pairs of appendage, you go to equation 5. So equation 5A and 5B has wings and does not have wings. So yang ada wing, cockroach. I think have typo. Ini sepatutnya ada typo lagi. Has wing, ada terbang punya. Has wing. Yalah, cockroach actually has wing. Okay, that do not have wing. And nyamuk bukan nyamuk. Saya lupa pahat BM lah. And do not have wing. So finally for dichotomous key, you already classified snail, snake, earthworm, spider, cockroach, and ants. So all of the organism in one habitat you already finally classified. Ini dichotomous key. So if you look this dichotomous key, dia tak ada biological significance. Dia hanya simply saja macam human nya. Based on the morphological characteristic of it. Dia hanya tengok yang muka saja. Dia hanya tengok muka saja. Dia tak ada tengok dalamnya. Dia hanya tengok muka saja. Then we classify. Inilah for artificial selection. So hopefully based on this experiment you can understand lah. And this one actually is one of the experiment lah in your SEM 3. I think it's the first experiment. Okay. Now next is natural classification. Okay. So natural classification, they say natural, semula jadi, natural punya, organic punya, original punya. So it is a hierarchy of group that is a system where groups are divided into smaller and smaller groups with the common features. Yang artificial, it is based on the human method, based on the morphological characteristic. And then we classify only. Natural, it will also be divided, but it is based on the common feature. Macam awak tengok ada like A group. A group, they have ini. Okay, ini. Okay, they considered as B and C. Okay, B and C, they has only like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Means that B and C got all the characteristics of 1 to 4. But B and C are different because B have another 5 and 6 characteristics, and C have 7 and 8 characteristics. They are unique characteristics. Only C have. B do not have. C only has 7 and 8. 7 and only. B do not have 7 and 8. And then C you can classify only, and then you classify based on the common feature. A is the biggest common feature. A yang ada punya karakteristik semua punya ada. Yang awak paling bawah pun ada A punya karakteristik. And this one that's D and E. D and E got C characteristic, but D do not have E characteristic, and E do not have D punya characteristic. Like that. This is the natural classification. How they classify based on natural classification. So that So the more common feature have in different species, the more recently they have evolved from a same ancestor. This means that if the species have more common feature, yeah, that means that they have same characteristic lah. So they evolve from a same ancestor. Maksudnya semua spesies ni adalah daripada satu nenek moyang. Mereka semua sama saja. Satu nenek moyang saja. But nenek moyang dia ada buat offspringnya mereka ada beza sikit. Lepas tu macam ni. Based on the same character ancestor. And then for the character, there are two different of character. Because feature is character, right? But there are two different character. That is homologous character. Homologous character means that different species have similar basic structure, but function is totally different. Function is totally different. They have same structure. Like if you see the Oxford textbook, if you have see the example of the structure of wing of birds and structure of horse, the bone of the wing of the bird, bone punya bird's wing, and also punya horse leg. They almost have same structure, but the function is totally different, right? Bird's wing you buat apa? It can fly. Bird's wing punya dia terbang punya. Horse leg is buat apa? Jalan and run for walking and running. So they have similar basic structure. The bone almost same. Bone structure punya, mereka bone structure almost same, but the function is totally different. Okay, and then another one is analogous character. So different species, totally different species, but look like similar. Totally different species look like similar because they have similar function, but their structure is totally different. Means that totally different species, but the function is same. Look like similar, but the structure is totally different. Like bird's wing and butterfly wing, actually is totally different. You see it's same, right? Macam sama aja, butterfly wing and bird's wing macam sama aja, but the structure is totally different. They have same function. Mereka function punya adalah terbang, tapi the structure are totally different. Ini analogous. So you have to differentiate these two well. So in the natural classification, the grouping the organism in this classification are according only homologous character only. Yang ni saja. Kami hanya ikut homologous character only. We do not ikut not follow the analogous punya. Because the natural already say it is based on common feature, common characteristic, not function. It is not based on the function to classify the organism. So for the natural, it is based on homologous characteristic, not homologous. So you have to alert for this. So for this, I think can understand. Okay, so natural classification. Okay, next is based on the natural classification. We were scientists already classify all the organisms become a taxon, called as taxon. Will group into the taxon. Taxon is a group that contains the organism that share some basic feature that indicate they share a common ancestry. Means that mereka ada say some basic feature. So basic feature they are the same, and then they share a common ancestry. Mereka share semua nenek moyangnya. So kingdom, phylum. So this is the classes of taxon. You have to memorize it. I think don't need memorize it. It's very easy. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. K, P, C, O, F, G, S. If you want to call me to what easier to memorize, sorry, I don't know. Because I can memorize it. It is very easy only. Kingdom, phylum, class. I think kingdom, phylum, class is very easy. Ini tiga punya, these three is the most important that you have to learn in STPM syllabus. Yang order, family, genus, you don't need learn. And species you have to learn, but species just one of the example. Just say as the example only. Yang order, family, genus are the group that you don't know, you don't need to learn. But you have to memorize it also. You have to memorize the classes. So what are the means that? So kingdom means that it is the top of the group of the organism that has almost same basic feature. And species is the most unique. Yang hanya itu lah. Itu organism only hanya sahaja yang ada karakteristik itu. But the species has the characteristic of genus, and it also have the characteristic of family, also have characteristic of order, class, phylum, and the kingdom. So the kingdom is the most that the characteristic yang kingdom ada, semua ada. Phylum ada characteristic of the kingdom. Class also have the characteristic of the kingdom. And then class also have the characteristic of the phylum. Inilah. So kingdom ada characteristic of semua organism, phylum ada characteristic under semua ni lah. Inilah you have to know lah. So this is a taxon group. So kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. So memorization, I think don't need to memorize, because if you every day do this, if you learn this chapter, you every day cakap, automatically you can memorize lah. Okay, so next is the 5 kingdom system. So kingdom in syllabus, kingdom you have 5 kingdom. So first kingdom, Protista, fungi, plantae, animalia, and Prokaryote. But in our syllabus, Prokaryote is don't need to learn. Tak perlu belajar. Kenapa? Karena SEM 1 awak sudah belajar. Prokaryote. Bacteria punya. Yang SEM 1 chapter 2, Prokaryote. You already learn. So Prokaryote, you don't need to learn. You just only learn 4 kingdom. Protista, fungi, plantae, and animalia. So I think fungi, planta, and animalia are familiar to you, but Protista maybe you ada kepala ada banyak question mark lah. Whether your head maybe have question mark, what are these? But actually, if you know the example, actually you would know what are they. Okay. So actually for this topic is finished. So this video is talk about the classification of organism. So there are 2 types, artificial and natural. So artificial is human made punya, they based on the morphological characteristic, and natural classification is based on the common feature of the organism, and then you grouping into the taxon. And then finally you have to learn 5 kingdom system. That is you have to learn in next topic. So hopefully you guys can scan this QR code and then fill it any comment you want. Maybe have some mistake or improvement or not. Okay. So that's all for this video. Thank you.